Hey plant fam! Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jaclynn. This is my jungle, and if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you for still being here. So today I have for you another episode in 12 days of Plantmas. Today is day 5, and I'm going to be talking to you about one of my favorite philodendron in my collection. Actually, one of very few philodendron that I still have in my collection, and that is my Philodendron bicolor. So this one is native to the tropical rainforests of Peru, and honestly I could not find any more information about the origins of this plant that were super readily available on the internet. But it does get its name due to the multicolor on the front of the leaf. Obviously she is green, and then on the back of the leaf you can see it is more of this like burgundy red color. So that is where the name comes from. She is a climbing philodendron. Obviously she is in the aroid family, and I just recently put her up on a moss pole. So hopefully she is going to eventually attach. There's 2 different plants in here, and get to climbing, and the leaves can get even longer than this. So if you guys know me, you know I love a long strappy leaf. I've got a few anthurium, strappy anthurium over here behind me. But philodendron also have a lot of options if you're into the strappy boys. So her leaves are actually looking a little dirty. I just recently repotted her, and I thought this would be a good opportunity for you guys to see how well the Urban Gardener Leaf Radiance Spray works, because I don't just love their Super Growth Elixir, I love all their products, and you can get all 3 of them on their website. I'll leave it linked down below, but I just love the way they smell, honestly. I do recommend using like a microfiber cloth, but I'm going to let her sit for a minute, and then I'm going to wipe her with a paper towel, and you can see the difference and how shiny she's going to be. Shiny! But anyway, I couldn't find a ton of information about the origins of this plant, so if you know any more information about it, feel free to share with the rest of the class in the comments below. So, lighting for this one. Again, you guys, like most plants, she wants bright, indirect light. So keep in mind where it grows, how it grows. Usually you're going to find these climbing up trees and other plants in nature. So they are usually partly shaded, which doesn't mean put them in the dark, because the light outside is different than the light inside. It literally just means don't put them out in the direct sun. If you're going to put them in like a south facing window, just make sure you pull them back a tiny bit so that they don't burn from the direct sun. So that's really it. This one is kind of a no-brainer, and it doesn't require a ton of care. You'll notice that a lot of my favorites and plants that I love are very, very tolerant to neglect. So watering for this one, I water about once a week, or at least I try to remember watering. These leaves will curl up on you. They will get very sad looking. They will let you know if you have waited too long to water her, but she's pretty forgiving and she won't die the first time, at least. If you continue to do it, the plant does become less resilient over time. It is not good to let that happen, but if it does happen once in a while, it's going to be fine. This plant is not going to die. It's very, very tolerant to my abuse and my neglect. All right, let's wipe off some of these leaves and see how well that worked. It's important to make sure that you're always supporting the leaf. So I'm going to put my hand behind it, and then I'm going to wipe it so that I'm not breaking the leaf. I just don't have enough hands to show you, but this is what it looks like. Just a little gentle wipe down is all she needs to get rid of some of that hard water staining. And I was about to clean her right before I sat down to film, and I was like, you know what? Actually, I'm going to show you. And there she is. Look at how beautiful and shiny and clean these leaves are now. Love this product. Took very, very little effort. As you can see, she was a lot dirtier than I thought she was, Now she looks super cute, and now she's gonna photosynthesize even better. And honestly, cleaning your leaves is a really great way to help prevent pests. So keep them clean, wipe them down. Your plants will thank you. So again, I will leave the Urban Gardener link down below. I love all of their sprays, all of their products. 10 out of 10 recommend if you're trying them out for the first time to get all 3 of the trio pack. But back to this guy. So fertilizer on this one, honestly, don't give it any special treatment. I fertilize it the same way as I fertilize the rest of my aeroids. I don't find Philodendron particularly to be heavy feeders. I don't find this one to throw a fit on me. If I don't feed it properly, the leaves stay this beautiful dark green color. There's no yellowing, no browning, tips, like nothing in sight. You would not know how neglected this plant was not long ago. She's not showing it whatsoever. I would say fertilizing this just the same way as you fertilize the rest of your houseplants is going to be sufficient enough. I also spray everything down with the Super Growth Elixir from Urban Gardener, so I do think that they appreciate that extra foliar feed as well, because plants do uptake nutrients from their foliage as well, not just their roots. Otherwise though, if I remember to fertilize her, I'm sure she's happy about it. So temperature and humidity, you always want to keep in mind where the plant comes from. It comes from a tropical rainforest in Peru. It comes from the very lush, moist rainforests in Central and South America. So you really want to make sure you're giving her the right temperatures, and you really want to make sure that you're giving it enough humidity. Now that doesn't mean you need a heat mat and like a humidifier right next to her to keep her alive by any means. She's very, very resilient, and I think that I would have a perfectly fine time growing her in ambient humidity, but she does live in 60% humidity, and this room does not drop below 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So I've had an easy time with her, but I do have a little bit more of an ideal condition in this space. So I would say if you have a cabinet, this might be a good candidate for your cabinet, but it is possible to acclimate them to lower humidity than that. Like I don't know anybody who actually really struggles with this philodendron. It's not one that I hear people talk about often either. It used to be very expensive. It's not anymore. I paid a lot for this plant. There's actually 2 plants in here, one that I propagated, but they have come down significantly in price, and they're really pretty. Look at the backs of these leaves. So pretty. So you always want to keep in mind where the plant comes from. That's why I think that the origins is fun to know, or at least like the native environment where they grow, so that you can kind of understand what your environment should be like to keep them happy. But again, baseline in here for all of my plants, everything you see behind me is 60% humidity and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So soil on this one, I give it the same chunky soil mix as all of my aeroids. I don't make it as chunky as I used to in the past because it can just be a little bit harder to maintain the watering, but I do still use the same mix. The Fox Farm Forest Floor, the Mother Earth No. 3 Perlite, and the Orchid Orchid bark. So I have found that I just really enjoy those products. It's a little bit finer of a mix, and my plants have been really loving it as well. And of course, I gave this one a moss pole. This one has moss and perlite in it. You can just give it like a stake or a pole, whatever makes you happy. You're just gonna want to attach it with something, because these are climbers, and once they feel safe and secure and they know that they're attached to something, they'll take off. So they do grow a lot faster if you get them growing up a pole. They'll grow a lot bigger, and they'll just be a little bit easier to manage. So propagating this one is really, really easy. Honestly, I just threw it into moss and forgot about it for quite a while, and I recently just potted the mother plant and put the propagation in there with her. So I don't even know which is which, because they both look great and they both have active new growth. So I definitely look forward to what this plant is going to turn into. It is a little bit on the slower growing side, so keep that in mind if this is one that you're adding to your wish list. If you're wanting it to be big, you might want to buy it big, because buying it as just a cutting is it's gonna take you a while to grow it out. It's beautiful, but it is definitely on the slower end of philodendron when it comes to growth. I've had this for a while and it just barely gives me new leaves every few months. So that's really all I have for you guys on care tips for this one. And again, I just really couldn't find a lot in terms of origins, but I love it. I think she's really beautiful. And again, I don't really have a lot of philodendron anymore. I dwindled my collection down to just the ones that I really love, and this one absolutely made the cut. I snagged this one. I think part of the plant came from Jax's jungle and the other part of the plant might have come from the plant ward. I don't remember. I remember purchasing the plant twice. I don't know if one died, and I know I had a propagation of one. So I might have had 3 at one point in time, but I look forward to watching this one grow. So stay tuned. I will give you guys updates. Look at how nice and shiny. Shiny. Definitely go and check out that Leaf Radiance spray. Obsessed with Urban Gardener. I'm not going to say it again, at least not in this video, but if you enjoyed this one and you found it helpful, you should definitely give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss the rest of 12 days of Plantmas. I hope that you've been enjoying it so far, and I hope that I see you in the next one. Bye!